Okay. It's cold and grey. And so am I. A rose between two thorns. I watch a lot of review content on YouTube and other such places. I rarely see reviews that come from the heart, from actual photographers. I see a lot of nerds talking about pixels and IBIS and those sorts of things, but then they show you the pictures they take in their review and you're like, dude, you fucking suck at photography. Is it just me? And they're like, here's a test image that I shot, and it's just ass. So I'm not a review person, I'm not a particularly good photographer, but I'm better than most of the reviewers at photography and worse at photography than many others. Anyway, this puts me in a unique spot where I'm able to talk about ownership of a camera, A, because I own the things, and B, because I actually use them on a very varying amount of stuff. So this is the GFX100S. This is the GFX100ii. If you're here, you're probably trying to decide between the two of them. Good news, you can't go wrong. If you have more money than sense, pick this one. If you have slightly less money than sense, this one. Here endeth the review. They do the same thing. Now, the way that I described this to a friend of mine, I said it's the difference between having a V8 and a V12 Ferrari. And then I realised how relatable this analogy was. Not that I've ever stepped foot in a Ferrari, but you're getting a better engine in this one, but they're going to get you to the same place, and they're both still Ferraris, all right? So let me tell you what I mean when I talk about why did they build this camera? To make money, obviously, and why this camera probably makes more sense for you to purchase, but this is the better camera. Does that make sense? Hopefully not. I smoke, I drink, I West Coast. No, I'm actually still on the East Coast. I have a flagrant disregard for the algorithm, so I will swear, and I will make large, rambling, unedited content that just goes on and on and on and on. So if you don't like that, piss off. Alright, this is my GFX100S. I've made 98% of the content on my camera using this camera. It's a great fucking camera. Why did I buy this one? Because I dropped this one on the floor and hurt it. Honestly, and I'm not very good at getting things repaired, so this still needs to go back to the shop. It still works, but it fell from quite a height. The build quality of this is excellent. Obviously you can see I take care of my gear. The build quality of this is excellent. This survived a pretty chonky fall, but it's kind of dented. There, if you can see, you probably can't. It's kind of hurt the baby, but it's got the 55mm on it because I bought that as well. And let's talk about all of these things. I have very few notes on this camera beyond the autofocus can be a little sluggish, and from a frame rate perspective it can be kind of slow. Image quality is unbelievable. You're not getting much better image quality out of this except for in certain situations. So this, honestly, for most applications and for most people, the category that's coming to my mind is wedding photographers are going to prefer this camera. I'll explain more of that in a second. But everything else like that, you're really umming and ahhing over this, and money is a thing. If money ain't a thing, just buy the best thing. But if money is a thing, probably buy this one, because you're going to pay quite a bit more, given that you can get these for second hand. I'll be selling this soon. Just told you I dropped it. Let's redact that. I didn't. I've had treated my gear very well. This is the better camera, though. I'll explain why. People are going to get raved about the ergonomics of the thing and everything else. It's got a bigger grip. It's got this nice little textury stuff here. I like that. It makes it easier to hold. Is it miles easier to hold? Not really. It's like, again, 10%. This is about refinement, not revolution. I like the new display. The viewfinder is great. Okay? So, if that's important to you, and it's important to some people, this is like looking in a IMAX theatre. That's not. What a nonsensical thing to say. I've stolen that off of someone else's review as well. If you hear this, like, oh, it's like being in a cinema. It's not. It's just a really clear viewfinder. Okay, so don't get too carried away with that. It's a good viewfinder. You can take it off if you're weird like that, and then you can put that up and down a screw one, to use the technical term. All of those are good things. The reason that wedding photographers are going to like this, and wedding photographers on the mass are insufferable. I recently got engaged. Congratulations, me. And I will have to be hiring one of these loathsome wedding photographers who are all just awful, awful people. All of you, awful people. God knows the money you charge and the crap. Deep breath. Let's have a little go at this before we get into the wedding photographer rant. You're a lovely niche and very valuable, and wedding photography is really good. I hate it talking to them because you know in that episode of whatever that show is when he goes to the shop, he's like, I know more than you. That's all wedding photographers because they're all like 22. Certainly one's in my budget anyway. But I'll probably be going to Annie Leibovitz as normal. Anyway, going back onto this. Everything's better, but only a bit. Does that make sense? The sensor, they'll say, has completely been reformatted and bullshit. It provides an image quality of basically identical to the GFX100S. Anyone that tells you otherwise, A, will certainly not be able to illustrate that through their terrible review pictures, but it just is not like holy shit. When I bought that, it was holy shit. This is not a holy shit upgrade. And this is a good point to mention. This video is sponsored by Fuji. No, it's not. It's but it is better in the following ways. One, autofocus on is actually really good. And is it really good compared to a Sony? No. But I don't use Sony. I use medium format Fujifilm. Is it better than that? Yes. By actually a lot. So it's a lot faster to focus. It's a lot more accurate to focus. And you can take way more shots. Because it uses, and this is my own science here, CF Express card. Which low-key really like. Super fast to get images off and on camera. Lots of storage. And only costs $8 billion a card. Very reasonable. The top display is better, the viewfinder is better, the IBIS is actually better, and again, all of these little corrections add up to a V12 versus a V8, and that's really all I wanted to say. I will pick this camera up more. Does it make me want to take photos more and all that sort of garb? Not really. It's got lots of additional buttons that you can customize, and it's generally the build quality of this is actually excellent, although I prefer the GFX100S aesthetically. It's a little bit smaller. This is also a little heavier as well. Not that that should impact any fucking purchasing decisions. Just get a little stronger. Please don't fall off. If you're wondering how my previous camera broke, you're probably not wondering anymore. So that's it. That's my review of the GFX100 versus the GFX100S. Buy it if you can afford it. If you can't, get that one. If you can afford neither of those, XT4? I don't know. Maybe? I wouldn't leave Fuji. Fuji's worthwhile. The new lens, the f55, it's on this camera currently. It's good. You enjoying this review? I am. Yeah, it's a good review. The 55 is like your ultimate street lens. However, I don't know if anyone noticed, but online street photography is getting cancelled. There's too many rich white people taking photos of poor black people in areas they shouldn't be. So all of these gritty children playing in the streets and, you know, skateboarders skating in trash and stuff like this. This is just a ton of like super privileged like a crew just wandering around New York going to places they don't belong and getting horribly cancelled. And this is a whole debate that's literally happening right now. What's my 2 cents on it? He says as he smokes a cigar. I am an arsehole, but I don't care. My 2 cents on this is you have to belong in the category of photography that you're shooting, right? Just as there's this massive YouTuber that takes weirdly creepy kink photos of small Asian women, you know who you are. You don't watch this channel, but fucking on to you. Anyway, that's his niche. It's deeply creepy. He doesn't belong in that space, but he is in that space. Street photography applies on the same thing. It's only a matter of time before that guy gets cancelled. I mean, it's Thailand, so it's probably going to take forever, but it will happen. So street photographers, if you are a guy that went, you know, grew up in Denver and took photos of like Ford trucks and stuff, and you've flown to New York and you're like, let's go and photograph Upper East Harlem. Don't do that. You don't belong there, buddy. You just don't. Like, everything that you find interesting is people's lives. It can feel very exploitative. So stick to photographing Ford trucks in Denver. Like, that's you. You're not going to have anything to bring to the conversation in Harlem. I had my rude awakening to this because I went down to a skater place under a bridge, which is a fucking great place to photograph, but I got absolutely called out by the skater person who was just like, who the fuck are you? Why are you here? Why are you taking photos of us? All very reasonable questions. Again, you can fall back on the street photography. Well, it's not against the law, and you know that doesn't get you very far with the skate crew. And yeah, we chatted it out for a long time. I bought them some pizza, and we sort of made friends and figured it out. But he was right. I was in his space. I can't skateboard. I have no right to be there. Some of those kids are homeless. It's exploitative. So anyway, that's my review of the F55. Of the 55mm f1.8. What I did notice before, it's like it's as good as the 80. But just a more reasonable and usable focal length. It's not as flattering of people as the 80 and the 100 is, but that's mainly down to focal length anyway. Otherwise, the construction's great and all the things you would expect. I have very few notes for anything on the Fuji system. I'm a big fan of it. I use it for all of my work. Oh, I got a studio as well. Fuck me. It has been a while. This is why I haven't really been making videos. I've been doing stuff like getting engaged, the love of my life, and getting a studio and spending God knows how much money fitting that out. I haven't done much. So I just wanted to make this quickly because I still don't know what this channel's about. This is my review of the Fuji GFX100S and the Fuji GFX100ii. That's a better camera. That's the one I'd buy if I had my time again. Do I regret buying that? No. But again, my circumstances are probably different to yours. There's an old cowboy that makes these sort of very wistful, advice-laden cigar-smoking videos. I tried to capture some of his energy there, and then I remember that he has one thing that I don't have, which is style, charisma, and wisdom. I'll fucking get there, though. If you enjoyed this... What's wrong with you? I'll see you later. No requests, no notes. Take care. Love you.